I give up on you. Hi guys! It's Taylor, your, I don't know, you know what, call me whatever you want. Your double chin girl, your thick eyebrow girl, the girl that can't survive without coffee kind of girl, I don't know, just whatever you want. Today we're going on a trip. It is Saturday. We were supposed to wake up really early, but somebody turned off the alarm twice because I left him in charge of it, which
My
normally...
fault.
Yeah. So, yes. We're going to Prescott, Arizona. Prescott, Arizona is somewhere that I am very familiar with. I have gone all over Arizona since I was a young child and we first moved here. I love traveling. And I actually know a lot of the historical facts of a lot of ghost towns or mining towns, just because it used to interest me when I was 12 and 14 years old. I used to go out of my way to learn these things. Anyway, let me just give you some recap about Prescott. So the area of Prescott that we're going to today is called Whiskey Row. Oh my gosh, I just choked on myself. Anyway, Whiskey Row was a famous row of buildings that were close together, which were mainly all saloons. Many of them were saloons with hotels on top of them, and this was back around the time 1900, 1890, 1900, mainly for the fact that it was a mining town, and back then, of course, we had cowboys, we had lots of different kind of people going through that town, right? So you had the miners, you had the rich people, you had the cowboys, you had the crazy girls looking for money, or just straight up prostitutes in saloons. And because of this, it was a very popular area for people to go after they had been mining the whole day, to go drink a cup of beer, meet some pretty ladies, and that was kind of it. And you might be wondering why this place is kind of crazy. Well, on July 14th, 1900, Whiskey Row lit on fire, and it was considered the Great Fire because there had been previous fires, because obviously having a bunch of saloons close together with alcohol and people that smoke, alcohol and cigarettes probably don't mix very well because, you know, fire and alcohol. Anyway, point is, they had a great fire that ended up costing them a ton in damages, to the point where $100,000 in damages back then was a lot of money. And the insurance for the buildings, the properties back then, weren't covering nearly half of the damages. So a lot of the buildings either never came back, so some of the saloons probably left, and some of them came back. They ended up rebuilding Whiskey Row, but obviously they had lost a lot. There, at one time on that street, was 40 saloons, and I'm talking about not separate buildings, like they were all stuck together, which, as we know now in the future society after 1900, is that it's not safe to put buildings this close to each other, because when there's an earthquake, they fall down, and when there's fires, it spreads really fast. So now if you look at buildings, you usually don't see them too close together, or if they are close together, they have systems to make sure that if there is a fire, it stops it, in areas that we know there would be fires. But it is really cool. So this whole area, I'm not like going to the bars because I'm like, oh, I want to drink whiskey, right? We don't do that. But the cool part about Whiskey Row is that a lot of the buildings, because they were rebuilt later on, so after 1900 they got rebuilt. That's still a long time ago. So a lot of the architecture from a photographer's standpoint is very pretty, with the brick, with the little like shapes of everything. It just looks nice. You can take a really cool photo there in nearly anywhere in old Prescott, really. They also have the big town hall. And the town hall has a very large staircase, and it just looks really nice. It looks really pretty. I know it sounds stupid to some people, because some people probably don't even do photography and have no idea why I would be excited about architecture, but I just like how it looks. And if you're an artist and you draw architecture, great. You totally understand where I'm coming from right now. Anyway, well, we're on our way. It's about a 2-hour drive, and then we will be there.
2 hours later.
dinner? Where are we?
We're in Prescott. You already know that. This is a courthouse. You can film the building. It's in very good condition. I don't know how old this thing is though. Actually, there's a sign around it. Basically, if you look at any building, you can see the decals and the detail that went into building a building. Wait, what was the movie with Reese Witherspoon? You remember the movie?
Mulan?
Reese Witherspoon, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl, played Mulan. You are out of your mind. It's a Haokai, it's a court. What movie did Reese Witherspoon play in that had a court? Law.
Law.
I give up on you. Do you want to know an Indian story?
Yes.
This is a story from India. It's about two wives. He has two wives. One of them is young.
Yeah.
One of them is old. The first wife is the old wife. The young wife is the second wife.
Yeah.
The story goes that the man who had gray hair, white hair, and black hair, his old wife would pluck all his brown hair.
Yeah.
Or dark hair. And his young wife would pluck all the grays and white hair. So between the two of them, he had no hair.
Oh no!
This is Haokai's hair. You can barely see it, but it is. It's white.
Oh no, I'm getting old.
You're an old man now. You got gray hair and you don't even have kids yet. Where's Haokai? I can't find him. I think he disappeared. Haokai? So, we're on our way back to Scottsdale. I am very tired. Kind of a mixture between the fact that I've been trying to lose weight and I'm starting the, what is it?
High intensity
Interval training.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm doing those kind of workouts from a lady named Emmy Wong. But it's very hard, and yesterday my abs and my legs felt like they were on fire after I worked out, which it was good. I mean, I know that if you get a burn, that's actually burning calories, and I did lose a pound when I woke up. So I had already lost 3 pounds, and now I lost another one, so that means 4 pounds for the week, which is very positive outlook. Now, like I see a lot of fluctuation, so I know that I'm gaining muscle. Kind of like my body just takes one down, and it's like muscle. Like I feel abs. I feel like I have abs now underneath. Like I can feel them when I work out. So I'm like, okay, we're good. But because of this, after walking for a whole day and carrying heavy cameras and stuff like that, my legs feel like crap. I feel like I'm broken. Anyway, though, we got ourselves some drinks from Circle K, and now we are headed home. So, if anyone knows me, I was raised with a family that appreciates antiques, and my grandmother loves antiques as well, and my other grandma likes antiques too, but between the two of them, there's definitely different tastes between what they both have. However, my grandma Nicholas got me obsessed with Burl Daltons, and so I found this girl, and she was only $40, so she was a steal. So I bought her because she was on sale. So usually they're around, some of them $80, $100, $70, and but when you can find one that was originally put at $65 and it's only $40, just buy it at that point. So total was like $43 with tax, but she just looks really cool. She has kind of the same characteristics of my other ones. She has the shoe, she has a really nice dress. I really am into the ones with the gowns, not so much the ones where they're doing something with an object, like the ones that are like watering plants or holding a cell phone, or I mean not a cell phone, but an old phone. I appreciate these a lot more. But her colors are really nice too, the purple and the blend of the colors, how they kind of fade out in the dress. And she just looks nice, and she's a brunette, so I have another brunette in my collection. So now I have 4 instead of 3, which you'll probably see later in the video. I can show them at night so you guys can see my collection. It's growing. I'm going to get them a cabinet eventually so they can all be together once I get more. But right now they're just on top of a bookshelf. Pretty soon they'll have their own spot. Also, her makeup is pretty detailed. If it would focus. There we go. So I mean, they're pretty nice. Royal Daltons are a lot better than some of the other ones. They're made in England. I think they're still made in England. Oh, this one's made in, is it made? So it's made from bone china, and Royal Dalton is from England. But a lot of the other companies that make glass figurines out of porcelain or whatever, a lot of them just are not high of quality, or the paint job or how they make the faces look just don't look that nice. They're not that detailed. But I kind of convinced Haokai to let me buy one. At first I was trying to buy 2, but then Haokai was like, no, and so I was like, well, if I had to choose, I'm going to choose the brunette. Because then, I know it sounds weird, but like I already have one girl that has kind of like an orange color hair, and I kind of wanted to have another brunette.
So what's the color of your hair?
I'm auburn. A lot of people ask me in real life. I've had one girl who thought I was a redhead, and then I told her, no, I'm not a redhead. I have what's this? I told her, no, I have brown hair, but my hair has a lot of highlights in it naturally. I have red highlights in my hair, I have blonde, and so my hair, when the light shines on it, it tends to look kind of red, but it's not really true red hair. I have auburn hair, so it's a blend between brown and red. But my hair, I mean, I've never dyed my hair, I've never had highlights, I've never done anything to my hair, and I've just had this kind of look. I think I did let my sister do one thing a long time ago. I let her bleach the ends of my hair because they were dead, and I was like, I'm gonna cut them anyway. So she bleached like this much, and people like, it looked just literally like a light orange. It was terrible looking, but I cut it off, as you can tell. So my hair is kind of unique. It's not just brown hair, it's different. But I don't go around like carried about my hair, like whatever color it is, it is. You know, just love your hair. If you like dyeing it and making it purple, go ahead. I personally can't dye my hair because every time I think about it, I'm like, oh no. But if I dye all my hair, then I have to wait so long. And what if I don't like it? It'd be painful. So, it's okay. It's pretty nice up here though. It's really cold, and it reminds me of Michigan, so I'm kind of feeling homesick. I miss the grass. And the trees. The trees are so much nicer. But we'll be back soon.
2 hours later.
This is my collection. Ignore her. She's not a Royal Dalton. She's a nobody.
Can you introduce?
She's the ugly sister that nobody wanted.
No.
So this one's porcelain. Or ceramic. So she's cheaper, easier to chip, and I bought her with the defect, so she was cheap. As you can see, the detail on it isn't as good as the Royal Daltons. This is just basically drawn here and kind of bubbled up, and the face seems a little contorted, like it doesn't seem very well done. But she's still pretty for her own ways. I like her dress, even though she's not the most detailed. So as for her, she's very cheap. She's not worth anything. Even if she was in mint condition, she would be maybe like $40. That's it. This one is the one from my grandma. It has way more detail. I mean, look at the pants have lines. There's detail here with even buttons, and they didn't necessarily have to do that. Inside, even though you can barely tell because they're touching, this is all pieces of bone china that have been raised, so that the bodice is almost like it has lace. And the faces are very detailed too, even though obviously they're looking at each other, you can't entirely see them because you can't break them apart, but it's just very detailed in its own way. But this is made out of bone china, so there's a difference. And the only way you can tell if you have a real Royal Doulton is because in the newer ones they have a print like this and it has a number on it, HN and then whatever else. That's how you can tell. There's also usually a sticker behind some of them, but they don't always have those anymore because people take them off. Then this one is the oldest one I have, which is from my grandpa. His mom, I believe, got this for him. So she's very old, and if you actually look at her, she's so old that she doesn't have the traditional stamp. Now it says Spring Morning is the name of the actual girl, but here's the original stamp for Royal Doulton with the lion on top. And it says the company. It doesn't have a date on it that's very clear, so it just says made in England, Royal Doulton, bone china. And these are handcrafted and hand painted, so someone might have this exact one, but maybe the paint looks a little different in certain areas. It's very detailed, even the feathers have color here, and her whole body is just filled with detail. This one's obviously more just paint and not really like the other ones where there's a lot more like etching, where they etched in areas to make them more detailed. So obviously the older ones were not as detailed as the newer ones in the face and so forth, but very detailed. I haven't looked up how old this one is, so who knows. There was a certain date where they stopped stamping them with the old stamp and now do this tradition of doing this. Now this stamp is obviously different. This is 2004. I have to get the sticker off of here. She had a sticker on here. But other than that, she's good. Her name's Sarah, so we can always look up the name or with the code to figure out where she came from. We also know she's from the line of Pretty Ladies. And obviously it says it's made, handmade, and hand decorated. Now she has a lot of detail on her. Her dress is really pretty. I like the color and how they kind of rubbed the color off here to kind of fade off. And her face is very detailed. And the hair even is very detailed. It has texture to it. So I really enjoy these. This one we got for a steal. She was only $43, originally $65. But if you go online to like collector areas, this one retails even out of a box for up to $150. So they can be worth quite a bit of money. I mean, I'm not selling mine, but for some people that have them and are going to sell them because maybe they saw their grandma has them and your grandma passed away or grandpa or whoever owns them in your family, don't sell them for cheap prices. Actually look it up because some of yours could be worth quite a bit of money. I only have like the 7-inch ones, 8-inch ones, but some of the really tall ones are worth way more money than the ones I have. Like there's some really big ones that are worth like $300, and if you don't look it up, you don't know. So yeah, this is our collection so far. The ladies, except ignore her. This is like their ugly cousin. Don't look at her. She's actually, if you look at the stamp on this one, it's very small. You can barely read it. Florence Ceramics. And then they have some sort of imprint here, which probably was the name of the artist, I'm guessing, that made that one. But obviously not as detailed as these ones. And not bone china, so it's not expensive because it's not bone china.